good. Sophie, you got a camera out? You ready to go?
I'm ready.
You gonna make me look pretty?
I do my best.
You better.
She has a makeup kit.
Yeah, I know. Would you like her in the car?
You may have to throw my head down a little
We're
bit.
gonna have to shine you. Yeah, we're gonna have to
All right,
de-shine you.
counts
3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. We are so happy to have you here. This show is brought to you by Be Remembered Weddings, where you can have a wonderful wedding experience. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com. Now, this episode, we have a very special two guests with us, a couple. How appropriate. We talk to vendors, and they're always by themselves. And today we actually have a couple here that not only doubles as a vendor, but as a wonderful experience for the 2022 season, which I think is very appropriate as we head into the 2023 season. So I have Natalie and Nick Mochi here with me, and they're going to talk to us about their wedding on December 10th. And we went full glam on this wedding, didn't we?
We did, yes.
Went all out.
Yes.
Go big or go home.
Now,
Yeah.
since I'm a guy, Nick, you're going to suffer first because I need to have your perspective on the glam. Were you involved in the glam?
I did have a say. One of the biggest says I had was that I wanted it to be a black tie wedding.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to go
Yep.
full out, whole 9 yards.
Which is funny. So last, what was it? 2 weeks ago, I had this men's stylist in. Now, I like style. I like to look good. I'm all about the black tie. A lot of men these days, and she's telling me you can vary this up. So is this just how you were raised, or how did that conclusion come to be?
No, I just, former military.
Okay.
I was going to originally surprise her by getting the military uniform with all the medals and
Mhm.
surprise her with that, but just went with the whole black tie wedding.
Yep.
I was so nervous about how I wanted to look with that I wanted to look so good.
Yeah.
I literally bought 3 different bow ties, 3 different colors. Showed
Nice.
up with that, got 2
And
different
he had a
shirts.
custom-made tux.
He did.
He did.
Okay, now custom made. It's funny because on that show we talked about the difference between customized and custom made.
No, he had a full custom-made.
Full
Full
custom made.
Surprised her with the lining of my tux being the same color scheme as her dress.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so he gets some points for this.
he does. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, you told me before we got on here, you were the leading expert in glam on this. You said we went all out.
We did.
Okay.
Yes.
What was the theme here?
It was Winter Sparkle Wonderland.
Winter Sparkle
Yeah.
Wonderland. Okay. So we can't just go Winter Wonderland. We had to go
No,
Sparkle
We had to
Wonderland.
go Sparkle Wonderland. Yes. Yes.
Now, when you went to all of your vendors, all right, actually, I should ask you even more so, where did this idea originate? Now, you're a makeup artist, so
I am.
you must have seen so many weddings even before your own, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm around weddings every weekend of my life.
24/7.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see one that inspired you? Was this a Pinterest thing?
No.
Do you hate Pinterest like I
hate
hate Pinterest?
Pinterest.
Okay, good. We're all it's a love-hate relationship. So
yep.
every vendor I talk to, I'm like, Pinterest? So like, I'm like, got it, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this came from your imagination.
Yeah, it really did. It came from just who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, I have friends that will tell you, hey, it's a casual night, not Natalie casual, normal casual, right? So,
I love
and I don't,
love Nick's
I don't,
reaction.
right? I don't take offense to that because I love that. I love the finer things in life, and
Yes.
I love the aesthetically pleasing things in life.
Mm.
So, to me, winter. Of course, I could have done a Christmas theme or a holiday type of theme, but to me, winter, white, sparkle,
Yeah.
Wonderland is what
It's
fits
luxury
me.
too.
It's
yeah.
luxury, and I am a sparkle person. So, like, if you say I'm having a black tie wedding, I will be in the full sequin gown, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
that's who I am. So,
And you know what's funny too, though? We were also talking about this. So I had my business partner on who's the more technical side of photo and video. And we tend to see photos and we say, I like that. But we don't understand what we like about it. Now, videos, you've watched how many movies in your life, and you tend to understand what you like from a more critical perspective. Photo, you have no clue. And so when you have a theme and you match it appropriately and you have custom tuxes and you have, this entire concept made up in your mind and followed through, it's going to cost you more, but you're going to look at it and you're going to say, wow, that looks incredible. Why does that look incredible? Because it was matching. It was designed properly.
Yeah.
And that's something that it seems like you truly took into account here.
yeah, I'm a very attention to detail person.
Sure.
I mean, I'm a makeup artist, and
So you have to be.
I have to be.
Right.
I'm a Libra, and so Libras are known for aesthetically pleasing things, right? And so the attention to detail
Was huge.
was huge. And because of that, choosing the vendors was huge because
Sure.
I knew what I was looking for in each one of them. So.
But before we even got to that point, Nick, you're back in the hot seat here. I need to know how you did it. I need to know how you proposed, because when did you propose? How did you propose? You got to give me a little details here. And did you go down on one knee? Because if you say you didn't,
No,
I'm out.
I did. So throughout the course of our relationship, I would take notes in my phone of what she would like in a ring, or how many carats, what type of diamond, and I would put it in our contact. I had the ring custom made. And when I finally got the ring, it was after a trip that we went to Vegas. Originally, I was going to do it in Vegas, but it wasn't ready.
Okay.
So I did the right thing. I called her father. I said, I need some advice. I need to talk to you. First, I asked him if it was okay if I moved in with her. He said, yeah, I like you. Why wouldn't you treat her right?
Right.
And I asked her brother as well.
Oh.
He said, okay. I said, well, would you mind if I marry your daughter?
Yeah.
He looked at me. He's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah. I showed him the ring. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Then one day I said, why don't we go out to dinner? I showed up bringing roses and wearing a shirt that I wore 6 years prior to when we first started dating at one of our first dates. And then I got on one knee. I said, will you marry me?
Yeah.
She freaked out.
There's a lot to this story that's missing. His version's very different.
But she said yes.
Yes.
I did, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was just on a radio show a few weeks ago, and we were talking about trends in the industry. And one of them that came back in a major way is asking the father for permission. This is something that's coming back in a major way. And I think it's fantastic. I think it's a very respectful gesture.
Absolutely.
You know, I really think when it comes down to it, even outside of the religious perspective, I think it's respectful. It's showing that, hey, you know, I want to be a part of your family, and your family and you know, me are going to be combined as one. And so it's very beautiful in that way. Now, what did we miss in the story? Because it seemed like we missed quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a funny twist to that story. So we had dated many years ago. Things didn't work out between us, and we came back together about 3 years ago now. So
Okay.
He walked in wearing that shirt, but I had just gotten out of the shower. Roses, stuff like that. And I texted my friend and I said, Nick's wearing like the same shirt he wore like 6 years ago on one of our first dates. And she's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, is he going to propose? I'm like, I didn't get my nails done. She goes, well, I told you to get your nails done. But right. So
I love how that's a factor.
Yeah.
And I tell that to all the guys.
Yeah.
I was like, you need to figure out a way to get her to get her nails done. This is a big thing.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
what? I'm like, do it.
Oh, yeah. So, of course, I had them done for Vegas, and then I didn't, you know, and then
Right.
he didn't propose there, and I was like, oh, he didn't do it. And I'm like, no, whatever. Oh, well. And then when he did propose to me, I was in a towel. What all my hopes and dreams had ever been to have a proposal. I was in a towel.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm in a towel. I said yes, but then I'm like, wait, I'm in a towel. It's not really what he had planned, but it's just kind of how it happened. You know, I wasn't like ready fully yet when he came in.
Now, the greatest thing is, I don't know if this is the true story, but this is the watered down version that I've gotten from my brother-in-law.
Yes.
Now, my sister and him had moved in to a house, I think about a year prior. They had a little dog and they were having a grand old time. She walked in back from work and he had roses set up. He had dinner set up for them and he got down on one knee. And apparently, and this could be my dad watering this down, apparently, as he was doing it, she paused him, ran upstairs, changed clothes, and then came
I mean,
back
good for
down.
her. I mean, I kind of went out of body for a minute, and then I came back in. I'm like, wait, I'm in a towel though. Like, I'm in a towel.
Did you think about this for a
Yeah,
second?
like I just was like, I'm in a towel. I mean, I know he expected I'd be ready when he came in, but I wasn't. So,
And you know, shame on you, because when has a woman been ready when you come in?
Exactly.
That's really on you.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's really the whole 9 yards here. And I think that's a good place for us to cut it off for this segment
Sure.
here. We'll go ahead, we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll get into the whole planning process because there seems to be quite a bit, especially knowing you from my few minutes of talking. We're going to have a lot to chat about getting our vendors and how that process looked. And really kind of talk about when you started, because that's a big part of this that's changing again.
Yep.
I talked about this recently, and so I'd love to just get your personal perspective there.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, join us in just a few minutes here. We're going to take a quick break, go to some commercials, and we'll be right back with Natalie and Nick here, and we'll be talking about their experience in the wedding planning process from a pro. My name is Daniel, and we'll see you in just a few. Thanks. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel. You are back here with us, and we are talking to Natalie and Nick. But just before we get to that, this show is brought to you by Be Remembered Weddings. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com for your photography, videography, event planning, DJ, makeup, photo booth, everything under the sun. If I missed one, you'll find it on our website. So check it out, guys, and we'll be right back. Let's talk to you two because we're having a great conversation about your wedding and how you proposed. Don't worry. I'm past it. We'll go ahead. We were actually just talking during the break about how genuine that is. And I think coming from a photographer and videographer side of things, the more comfortable I can make a couple feel and the more in love they are, the better photos I'm going to get. And so it doesn't have to be a production. It really doesn't. You don't have to look like that Instagram model to be beautiful, and you can look beautiful in your own right. I think the most beautiful thing, and this is me being a sap, is when two people are in love with each other. That will show in a photo, in a video. It doesn't matter what you look like or how you look or how you're dressed, or, you will look beautiful, and you two will look back on it and say, and have that emotional connection that you're not going to get from that posed photo from Instagram that you're forcing.
Correct.
So that's my own little take there. You all can disagree with me, which I'm sure some of you will. But Natalie and Nick, I want to know, and Natalie, did you I know you had a lot of influence, but yes. Nick kind of went and did his part here. But when did you start this? Now, you had a whole production and you wanted it this way. How long did that take you to plan, and when did you really get it in gear? So what was the time frame from him proposing to the wedding?
So he proposed in June of 2021. Okay. We got married on December 10th, 2022. Mm-hmm. So about a year and a half since the proposal.
Pretty average.
Yep. I'm in the industry.
Right.
So choosing a date was based around when I'm not as busy, which unfortunately in 2022, I had a wedding I did makeup for 6 days after our wedding.
Yes.
But at the time, I resisted very much starting the wedding planning process when he first proposed. Okay. And a part of that was because I was so extremely busy, and I knew how things were in the industry post-COVID and all the backups and what we were dealing with. And so I just resisted for a while.
Yeah.
And then in October of 2021, we love Newport, and we went down there for my birthday weekend. Mm-hmm. And that's when I decided to take him to where we chose our venue to be, to see if he liked it. And I had very candid conversations with him before that about how this would go. And if we decide to do this is it. There's no like, oh, you book and then just wait a while.
Right.
It is like you immediately go.
Yeah. You're in it.
You're in it. Yes.
You're in the show.
Yeah. You're in it. And it's, you got to hit the ground running.
Right. So. Right. Okay. Now, did you choose I know you said you chose your date based off of availability, but at the same time, did you choose it based off of what the venue had available, or you were like, no, this is what I wanted?
Yeah.
If the venue didn't have it, were you out?
Yeah, probably. I would have just gone to one of my other favorite venues. Okay. So being in the industry, I do have that luxury of knowing ahead of time where I would have wanted to get married, which I know a lot of people do not. They need to go and look at venues and see the whole thing.
Yes.
But I always wanted a December wedding because I like the whole winter wonderland,
Sure.
Christmas. I love the sparkling lights from Christmas, even though I didn't have a Christmas wedding.
Sure.
I still love that, like in the towns going to the weddings.
Right. The aesthetic.
Yes, the aesthetic of that. And fall is now kind of my busiest time as everyone. So I knew I didn't want it then, even though I love fall and I'm born in the fall. But so I knew I wanted a December wedding.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted it to be on an even date. So I'm very into very into the spiritual side of the world of angel numbers. And so 12, 10, 22.
So you just went along with this part of it. It
Went along
feels.
with that part, but he wanted a winter
I wanted a winter wedding.
You did.
I did want it. I mean, I just like what Natalie was saying, I love the lights around Christmas time. I love the holidays.
Yep.
It's just the best time of year.
Yeah. So in terms, we found our date based off of that. We found our venue, our guest list. Did you have a good idea of what you wanted prior to going into this? Did you have a big family? How did you determine something like this?
I knew it was going to be a bigger wedding.
Yeah.
I knew that I could make the decision not to have a big wedding. And I would have done that if all the COVID stuff was still going on.
Sure.
But I knew it was going to be a bigger wedding. I wouldn't even say most of my family is, I don't have a massive family. I have more friends that have become family in my life. And I also knew, being a vendor in the industry and who I was, there was going to be some pressure on me that I felt. And then he has a larger, not a larger family, but he has more, family members outside of his immediate family.
Sure.
And friends and whatnot. So we invited about 250 people, and we had close to 200 people.
Wow.
So,
So big turnout.
Yes.
Very, very big turnout. Yep. And then let's just get into, really selecting those vendors. Now, of course, you're coming at it from a much different standpoint. I'm sure you've worked with most of these vendors. So you have an experience factor that no one else has. Working with someone 1,200 times, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I think I know who I want, right? I think I got this. So Nick, I'm sure you leaned on her for those, because
I asked her for everything, including the custom suit. I'm like, who's good? Who's the best?
Right. Where do I go?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, you're foolish if you don't, in that regard. I don't even think it's a factor of you wanting input. I think it's a factor of she has the expertise. Let's utilize it to make the best day. So again, and we talk about this all the time, that couples are starting from ground zero. And there's so much information out there to, really sort it all out and figure out what's best for you and what you want. I mean, God, that is a challenge. And so for you two to be like, oh no, I like them. They are fantastic. Like it's, I mean, come on, it can't be that much easier, right?
No, I mean, a part of my date booking was also seeing if those specific vendors that I had to have were available.
Yeah.
Right?
And who were your must-haves? Meaning like when you looked at the vendors across the spectrum and you look at your budget, who did you say, I dedicate this amount to that, et cetera? Not the individuals.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. For me, being in the industry and seeing where people want to cut corners, I think there's an unrealistic expectation from social media put out there for brides, right?
Sure.
You have to have this wedding that looks like this Instagram photo, which they are very unaware that Instagram photo flower installation costs $100,000.
So it's just hilarious that you say that, because I brought Just Bloomed Weddings in. I don't know if you've ever worked with them. I love Allison.
Yes, they're wonderful.
But she was talking about the fact that they see Kim Kardashian. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sure.
Kim Kardashian's flower wall, and people say, I want this. And they're like, it's 50 grand.
Yeah, that's a $20,000 flower. Right, correct.
And people are like, well, I want that. And
right.
You're not getting that.
Your budget is $6,000. What do you mean? Yes. Yeah, I think there's a very unrealistic expectation that's happened, unfortunately, due to social media.
Sure.
Social media is great for many things. And then there's this unrealistic world we see where people think, oh, well, my flower budget's $10,000.
Yeah.
And they're looking at Travis Barker giving Kourtney Kardashian every red rose in the world at the time, not realizing that Jeff Latham flew around the world to find every red rose he could, and he paid him $3 million to do so.
And there's now a shortage of red roses that now jack the price up.
So, exactly. So, So for me, my most important, one, the venue.
Yeah, sure.
The venue. I love the water. We were at a venue in Newport right on the water and in the wintertime. So there you go. Your beach.
Everything all included.
Everything all
in
included.
That aesthetic, again, being the photographer side of me, having the person say, I love this photo, and not realizing that it's actually the background, it's the flowers, it's everything about this, it's the dress, and them saying, oh, well, the photo looks different. No shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, yeah, of course. Because again, you're seeing the Pinterest and the Instagram photos where they've literally positioned those people to look exactly like that with all the, and when I say position, the aesthetic from the flowers to the gown, to the makeup, to the hair. And I do that for a living.
Right.
So for me, my most important vendors were the venue. And I knew the venue that we chose had wonderful food.
Yes.
Okay.
Key.
That was huge for me. Wonderful food and drinks for our guests. I wanted our guests to have an experience and not just go to a wedding, if that makes sense.
So I am going to cut you off, though. We're going to go to a quick break.
Sure.
When we come back, we're going to go through the rest of her vendors, because I think it's extremely important for people to know how that builds your entire day and the aesthetic of that from start to finish, especially with such a production.
Yes.
So we're going to be back in just a few seconds. I'm here with Natalie and Nick, and we are talking about their wedding experience in 2022 and building a glamorous wedding. So come right back here on the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel, and I'll see you in just a bit. Thanks, guys.
Every step, writing stories that seek to be read, taking hold of the moment as we discover every color filled with wonder. Now we finally see we got everything we need. Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go, with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day, it's ours to take, and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. We're going to kick it right back into gear here. We're talking with Natalie and Nick, and we're having a great conversation about how we created this glamorous day for you two. All right, before we get into that though, I do have a funny story. So I was in Cape Cod, and I was working with this photo booth company that I'd never met before, and there was this young girl who was clearly hired by them. And I talk a lot. And there was a downturn, and the couple said, we want some time to just go chat with our friends. I was like, do you want any photos? And they're like, honestly, take a break. Like, you've been doing so much. And I'm like, thank you. And so I see this photo booth person. I'm taking photos of setup and things like that. And I said, hey, what type of booth do you have? Now, we offer photo booths to be remembered. Yes. So I just said, what type of booth do you have? And she goes, I don't know. I was like, and me being, relentless, I go, do you know the brand or whatever? Yeah, it's Glam Box. And I said, now I was making a joke because this is where my mind goes. I'm like, that damn word glam. Everyone uses it. I don't even know what it stands for anymore. And she goes, it stands for glamorous. I couldn't help myself. I just laughed in her face and walked away. And I was like, okay, so we're not going to be friends. I got it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, from an aesthetics standpoint in a makeup industry, you'll hear terms like glam. I want glam.
And over.
I want glam. And glam can mean 5,000 different things to different people, right? But from an aesthetic standpoint in the makeup industry, there's natural makeup, right? I want to look glamorous is a different aesthetic, stuff like that. So when people say glam to me, we get into a whole conversation about what that means to them.
Yeah. And for me, when you're talking about a glamorous aesthetic, I'm thinking about high-end luxury. I'm usually thinking about sparkles.
Yep.
Sequin dresses are definitely up there.
Yes,
There's a lot that goes into that glam. Nick's like, I hear about it every night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nick's ready to kill me because of the amount of sequin throw pillows I have in our house.
Jesus.
So, yes.
But all right, so we're back into this, and we're talking about the prioritization of vendors because, first we really talked about that venue, and we talked about food being a big aspect of it.
Yeah.
And that's when I really cut you off here.
That's
but where do we go from there? Where was your mind at? Like, okay, this is the next person I have to lock down.
Yeah. Photography.
Of course.
Literally. Yes.
Thank you.
There you go. Photography.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, just for everyone to know. But
for me, photography, for some people, it might be, I don't know, their hair and makeup, right? Yeah. But I am makeup. So that, right. So I already, that was already set and locked in place.
Sure.
But photography.
Yeah.
And I would say, you know, people ask me all the time, like, I understand everybody has a budget, and I tell people to prioritize what the most important things to them are within that budget.
Sure.
But if you are going to skimp on photography, that is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. You get what you pay for.
Yeah. And so I knew exactly who I wanted, and I knew why I wanted her. And for me, it was more, I am not the, I work in the editorial field.
Sure.
Right. Like I work in the wedding industry and editorial. So I wanted somebody that would not only capture the day of the wedding and the small details of it, but somebody that would do the more editorial look, because I don't like to pose. I'm not a posing kind of person.
Yep.
And I personally am not very comfortable with pictures.
Okay.
And so I wanted somebody that would capture those moments for me in an editorial fashion without it feeling staged.
Yes. Okay. And, you know, that's a great point. And I talk about this all the time with my couples. It's creating that experience to create more genuine emotions, and you're going to feel those. You two don't need to be posed in a origami fashion for me to look at that photo and say, wow, I feel that love. It's usually just the way you two are looking at each other.
Right.
It can be that simple.
Right. I mean, she's a lifestyle wedding and editorial photographer.
Yeah.
And she's a very big photographer in the world of very known well people, and I know her very well, and she knows me very well, and so she knew how to work with me too, right? And so photography was big for me because I wanted those details captured, and the things that were staged were more of an editorial look, so it didn't look fake.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
And it definitely, you know, and again, there's such easy ways to do this. And I think if you put that focus on the customer, we were having a conversation in the break of putting that focus on what the customer wants and how to really take care of them appropriately and to create that experience, they're going to be in a different level. You two who, you know, I always say there's a reason I'm behind the camera.
Yes.
You know, this face doesn't do too well in front of it. And so, but if you go ahead and you make me relaxed and you make me in a moment that I'm enjoying, I don't care. And you're going to get raw emotions out of me. And that is beautiful, no matter what, right? That is the human experience that you're capturing.
Yeah.
So wonderful. Okay. So we chose our photographer. What's next on that list?
So videography,
Videography.
which I knew exactly who I wanted as well, and comfortable with them. Again, I'm not comfortable on camera.
Yeah.
So I knew who
That's a big
would make
part.
me feel comfortable.
Of course.
And so photography, videography for me. And then it was my florals because I knew the aesthetic that I was looking for would come a lot from the florist.
Yeah. Now, Nick, did you, again, she had the insight, but were you excited about any particular service? Because I find a lot of guys love the videography side of things and don't care about much.
I was excited about everything.
You were?
It really was. Everything from the videography to the photography to the band and music.
Good answer.
That it was, we wanted it to be an event, and it became an event. It was the event.
And right before the break, you also had mentioned that you really wanted to put a lot of focus on your guests. And this is another trend that's occurring where you wanted a production for them.
Yeah, I wanted them to have an experience, not just go to another wedding.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So from there, it was choosing a band that then late night turned into a DJ.
Yep.
And also going from coming into the ceremony to then the cocktail hour to then the reception and then the after party at the party. We had the after party at the party. So our wedding went until 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's when the DJ started. And people didn't have to stay for that.
Sure.
But it was more of an experience for them as opposed to just like, oh, we're going to another wedding today. And not that that isn't great to go to, but I wanted my guests to feel the experience of the day, to have the details be very detail oriented to who Nick and I were.
Yeah, sure.
So small details were very important to me. And then them enjoying themselves. I mean, I'm still getting texts about our wedding, like that people had never been to an event like that before. And so I think being in the industry for me and probably for you and everyone that works here, we see those events all the time. So we kind of lose the understanding that not everyone's been to an event like that.
Right.
So that's what I wanted for them.
Now, it's funny because did you do a photo booth? Did you do any of these?
Yeah. So I didn't do a photo booth. I had a flower wall.
Okay. Wonderful. Yep.
As we were just talking about,
honestly.
with a light up sign that said, all you need is love.
Okay.
And then we had a Polaroid.
Oh, you went to Polaroid.
Yes.
route.
And
I
that was
love
also
it.
my guest book. So
Yep.
some people didn't put in the guest book and they did the Polaroid, and that was part of their Instagrammable moment.
Sure.
I had the marquee lighting
Yep.
outside at our venue shining inside. So people, even though it was freezing out, still went out there and got the huge letters that say love, their Instagram
Nice.
moments there.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's actually a great company. It's Lit RI. You didn't happen to use
No,
them,
I
did you?
had your Love and Lights.
Your Love and Lights.
The
Okay.
marquee lighting.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's too funny because we just follow them and I see their stuff.
Yeah.
Mainly because we do so many jobs with them.
Yes.
It's one of those things where
Well, I do tons of work with your, excuse me, your Love and Lights. So same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So,
It's just kind of whatever pathway you go
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
So too funny. Okay. And what were the big memorable moments of that day? And I'm actually going to ask Nick about this because your first answer should be seeing her walk down the aisle, but we'll go to that after.
I mean, the first look,
Yeah, we did.
You did a first
We
look.
did a first
okay.
look. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was like Elsa.
It was like Elsa.
I was,
love
yes.
it.
Yes.
The most memorable for me it ties in with the photography because it is part of a photograph
Yeah.
and some of the extras that were part of it.
Mhm.
We have a photograph of us at our first dance kissing with cool sparklers
Yeah.
going off at the
Yes.
same time
Yes.
with the lights in the background and the band playing.
Oh, that's stunning.
It's one of the most memorable
yeah.
core memory photographs I will have for the rest of my life.
Yes.
That means the world to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this was a production. Yeah.
Yeah, full production. Yes, we got sparklers, we got
have
the band in the background, we got it all.
sparklers,
So
we have-
yes, that's quite a bit.
Yes.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get back here in just a second. We're gonna talk a little bit more about what went into that day and some of those memorable moments. We're gonna turn it back on you, Natalie, because
Okay.
I know you built the whole day. So I wanted to
That's
see
okay.
what Nick remembered from it. Yeah, we have to ask these questions. So we'll be back in just a few seconds, guys. And just remember that this show is sponsored by Be Remembered Weddings. So go to BeRememberedWeddings.com to check out more. And we'll see you back here in just a few. Thanks. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the wonderful world of weddings. We are so happy to have you here. This show is brought to you by Be Remembered Weddings. Go to BeRememberedWeddings.com today to get your photo, video, event planning, DJ, makeup, everything all in one, even more. Check it out at BeRememberedWeddings.com or give them a call at 508-625-7142. I am talking with Natalie and Nick, and we're talking about their wedding because it just wrapped up in 2022 on December 10th. And we're just going through everything from the memorable moments to the vendors, really talking about the experience you had and something that couples can look out for here. So before we went to break, we were talking to Nick about his most memorable experience.
Yes.
But Natalie, I mean, you set this up. So, I mean,
Yeah.
did it all. Number one, and I think that you can do this more than others. For a lot of people, they have this vision.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to put on if you don't know what goes into it. And it's very difficult to have a realistic understanding of that vision.
Correct.
Now, you were able to make it almost unrealistic because you have so much experience in this degree.
Yeah.
But when you look back on that day, what was the most memorable for you?
There's a lot. There's a lot, it was funny because this is what I do. So I'm
Right.
always around the day of,
Right.
right? The day of is the day that I'm there. I'm doing your makeup.
Yeah.
And so the whole morning and the afternoon as everyone's getting ready, they're like, you're oddly calm. And I'm like, well, this is kind of what I do.
Right.
This is like where I'm at. So,
I think it would be bad if you weren't calm
Yeah.
at that point, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The first look was one of the most memorable moments.
Mm.
My dog was there. It's
Oh,
it's our
nice.
dog now, but yeah. And but I would say we did private vows.
Okay.
ahead
I
of
love
time.
those. Yeah.
So that was another very memorable moment. And then the sparklers, obviously we had the cold sparklers by the stage for our first dance. Then we did the photo op, as Nick just spoke about, but we were taken outside when it started snowing
Oh,
and nobody knew that it was snowing. And my
Okay.
photographer ran over.
yeah.
I had a feather coat that I had
Yep.
that I wore at the reception, and she's like, "Get the bird." And and literally Get the Bird grabbed us and took us outside, and we had those marquee lights, and they got all these photos with the snow, and nobody knew we were out there.
Right.
Because everyone was dancing in the band, and they were drinking and having dessert. I had a dessert table and stuff like that. So nobody realized we were out there. And that was probably one of the most memorable moments for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a good photographer too, to see that opportunity and say, get out here.
Yes.
This is it. Like you are going to remember this. You'll freeze your butt off for 10 minutes, but you're going to remember this.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. Now we're going to turn it on its head, and I'm going to ask both of you, is there anything you would have done in hindsight? Now you should, you know, obviously it's a little bit closer here. It's not a typical bride and groom saying, oh yeah, we had no idea that we could have done this. And we went to a wedding the week later and said, oh shoot.
Right.
You know, you're probably not going to have that same experience.
No.
But what is there anything you look back on and say, damn, we really should have thought about that?
No.
Or done that? No.
No. I just
good for you.
Yeah.
This is not normal.
No,
everyone.
this is not normal. But
well done.
So yeah, I think for that question, for me, it's more what it inspired me with being more creative in the industry.
Okay.
And also knowing that what we did was true to us.
Sure.
And not somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. And not somebody else's Instagram photo or moment.
And how important that is.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I really do like that.
Yeah. For me, it inspired me. And it also inspired me to realize just, you know, people need to be responsible for the energy they bring into spaces. Right.
Yeah.
And so when I go to a bride,
yeah,
my energy isn't going to be low and negative.
Right.
Because it can't be. She's going to feel that from me. I'm touching her face. And so I feel just when people ask, would you do anything differently? I could joke, oh, elope, you know, stuff like that. But in hindsight, no, because then you don't learn what you need to learn.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's so much in that experience.
Yes.
You know, I do joke about the fact that I would like to be 5 people on a beach.
Yes.
That being said, 2 families coming together, you know, friends, all of you coming together as one and having this moment of celebration between you two is beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. And I think that's, you know, that journey even before, right? As soon as you set the wheels in motion and having you two kind of plan this as a couple for the first time, that first large endeavor, and then see it all come through. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely amazing. And if you see it for that, you can look at the small things that occur, and God knows they do. Right?
Oh yeah. You can spend $5 million on your wedding and something will go wrong.
Absolutely.
It's just going to happen.
That's life.
It's life.
Yeah. And you can sit there and you can say, God damn it, this is terrible. Or you can sit there and say, hey, we did that together. And it came out pretty goddamn good.
Yeah. And in the moment, if you allow that to take over, it will ruin your day.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you just, I mean, we had a major mishap with something with our wedding, and I knew it. Nobody else did. And that was okay because I didn't allow it to ruin my day.
Sure.
I could have, but I didn't.
Right.
And nobody else knew.
But again, if it's about you two, and it's genuinely about you two, it's not about an Instagram moment.
Correct.
It's about you. Does it really matter?
It doesn't matter.
It just
in the long run, it doesn't matter.
Right.
No.
Right. No, and I totally agree. And it's actually funny because we have the privilege, and I don't really like that word, but I'm very thankful for seeing as many weddings as I do.
Yes.
Because it does put a perspective that you just will never have without it. And, you know, a lot of these traditions, a lot of these, you know, concepts that people are like, oh, let's just throw them out the window. Well, there's a reason for them.
Right.
And I wish you knew it. And I wish I could explain it. I see it and I feel it and I know it. And so there is a difference there. And but a lot of people just will never have that opportunity. And that's why we're trying to give them so much advice and information. And so I guess we'll kind of finish this off with, is there any advice that you would give in the overarching plan of things?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're like, so many, do we have enough time?
How much time do we have? So first and foremost, do not betray yourself to please other people. And that doesn't, and I don't even care who it is.
Yeah.
Your parents, your friends, family, vendors, anybody. Yeah. If you start betraying yourself to please other people, you will have a wedding that somebody else created and not the wedding that you're looking to have.
Sure.
Having said that, be very intentional in selecting the people that come to your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know that this person is genuinely not happy for you, but you're inviting them because you're afraid of drama or a reaction, that's the energy that will be at your wedding.
Right.
And that is not the energy that you want around it.
Yeah. That's actually a great point too. Yeah. A lot of people invite people just because they feel the necessary need to. They're like, Correct. Oh, this is just, I would feel terrible if I didn't. Well, no, I don't want them there.
Correct.
I have no reason to. Yeah. And I think, again, we have the unique perspective of seeing what happens in that case. Yeah. And there's no real reason to even invite that in.
Yeah. And I think very old school mindsets perpetuate that betrayal of self. Well, they're family. Well, that doesn't matter, right? Yeah, so if it doesn't align with you, or that person isn't aligned with you, it's okay to not include them in your most important day.
Yeah.
And then I would say, know your budget and know that what you see on Instagram or on Pinterest, you have to have certain budgets for that. And it's okay if you don't, because you will still have a beautiful wedding. Yes. Because your wedding the beauty of the wedding isn't just the aesthetic.
Right. It's not dependent upon it.
No, it's dependent upon the love the two of you share. 100%. And if you're really there for the right reason, then none of that stuff matters.
And the photos will be there, and the videos will be there, and whatever will be there. Yeah. It really will.
Yeah. And then I would say prioritize. I mean, what is your biggest priority? I have couples that will come to me, or a bride that will come to me and tell me that I'm too expensive for makeup. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just not you're not my ideal customer, and I'm not your ideal makeup artist.
We have that too. And I say, I completely understand. I wish you the absolute best, and good luck. Right. That's all.
Right. And that's fine. But then I'll have people come to me and say, I have to look this way for my wedding. Yep. Okay. So that's more important to them.
Right.
I've had people cut corners on photography and then later on not get any photos.
Right.
Right. Or I've had somebody cut corners on the food. And then everyone complains the food wasn't good.
Yeah.
So it's prioritize fully.
So you two, I love that you were here. It's a great way to kind of wrap this all out. It's absolutely amazing. Nick, I got you to talk a little bit. I appreciate your stoicism, but I got you to talk a little bit. Yeah. Where can they find you from a makeup artist standpoint?
From a makeup artist standpoint. So my company is called Your Makeup Face. So my website is yourmakeupface.com. I'm on Instagram as Natalie, YMF, which we follow each other.
Perfect.
And then I'm on The Knot, Wedding Wire,
everywhere.
Little Black Book, Style Me Pretty, Little Black Book. Any vendor site that you can think of.
They will find you.
They will find me.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your insight. Absolutely amazing. Hopefully it helps all of our couples in 2023, 2024. Anyone who's listening in, and if they have any questions, or if they really want to reach out to us and have these two back on, or even just Natalie for makeup, go ahead and send us a message. Go to berememberedweddings.com/podcast. You can fill out our inquiry form. I can bring people back on and ask you directly, and I really want to do that. So let us know, send us an email, and we really thank you for joining us in, and we thank you too, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Take care, guys. Have a great day.